Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good Hang. I'm very excited about my guest, my dear friend, the lovely, the sweet, the juicy and talented Andy Samberg. We are going to talk about so many good things today. We're going to talk about him being a California kid and growing up in the Bay Area. We're going to talk about the Lonely Island writing process, what it was like in those late nights making those digital shorts. We're going to discuss how ASMR is always a little pervy, but somehow we like it. And, we're going to just get into it like we always do here. We even have a gotcha question. We even have one gotcha question. So listen for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to start my my episode like I always do by checking in with someone who knows Andy and wants to talk well behind his back and give me a question to ask. And joining me now is the great Seth Meyers. Seth? Where are you? How are you? Can you hear me? This episode of Good Hang is presented by Walmart. School supplies, we all remember getting them. I remember Trapper Keepers and so many colored pens, but now I'm sure there's a million more things to get. And thankfully, Walmart has essential back-to-school supplies starting at 25 cents, plus all the latest tech starting at $9. Who knew? Hello Kitty pencil cases, Nintendo notebooks, food-shaped erasers, Chromebooks, keyboards, and more at low Walmart prices. They even have Lilo and Stitch headphones. Who knew? Shop Walmart.com to score their favorite back-to-school tech and supplies. I'm so grateful that you did that podcast. Thank you so much, Seth. It was nice to have you here in the studio, and it's nice to talk to you where are you right now?
I'm in my little New York City studio.
Oh, you have your own little studio.
Yeah, and I'm realizing I'm not hearing you through my headphones, so I'm going to take them off. This is nice, though, because I also think my hair looks its best right after I take off the headphones.
Speaking of weird hair, we've got a guest with a great head of hair today.
Great head of hair. And probably, certainly he's, you know what? Who are we? We're going to be a couple of fogies say he had weird hair when he first showed up on the scene. And people love that hair. It was
incredible hair.
It was a magnet for good times.
Both him and you, I feel like I've seen a million versions of like SNL bedhead, which is like just, because as we talked about, like one thing that comes to mind with Andy that I do want to talk to him about is his relationship to sleep, because he loves sleep.
He loves sleep. He wrote an update feature once and he couldn't decide if he was going to call it The Kid Who Just Woke Up or Bedhead Jones.
And I feel like we've seen him so, so often just kind of being like so exhausted.
And I think he found a perfect soulmate, because I think there are a couple of little nocturnal meerkats or whatever a nocturnal animal is.
Because his beautiful wife, Joanna, is a musician. And, as far as I can tell, that means you get up at 7 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, there's no good harp inspirations happening before noon.
No, you know how hard those harpists party. They harp all night.
They party harp, as you like to say.
Wow. Very good. Okay. So, Andy Samberg, and you guys have a very special relationship. For people that don't know, what is your relationship like?
Well, it's actually, I would like to use it as the jumping off point for what I want you to ask him about, because I have a very fraternal relationship with him. And I don't think I'm alone. I think Andy's friendships are very fraternal with people. And I don't quite know where that comes from. I know he is a younger brother, and I think he's sort of he's sort of America's younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
I think the minute we all laid eyes on him, he felt like a younger brother to us in a way that was very endearing. And I kind of want to know, like, how his like real life as a younger brother informed who he was. 2 older sisters. Like, what was the feedback he was getting from them? Were they delighted by him? Were they a good audience? Were his parents a good audience? Because, as older siblings, you and I know that the younger siblings get a lot more, easier audience.
Yeah. Everything.
Free ride in life.
Free ride. Everything is easier.
But with that said, Andy does nothing the easy way. I've always said, like, he showed up and I thought, oh my God, this guy is so sophomoric. And then I realize now that he has a PhD in sophomore comedy. Like nobody approaches what they do with like more integrity and intelligence than he does. But like I'm very curious about like his younger brother DNA and what he thinks it adds to his approach to things.
It's a great question because you're right. I think he's a juxtaposition between feeling very like loose and goofy, but when we've all had the chance to work with him, and he's very serious when he works.
Yeah, and I would say he's very opposed to taking like the first idea. Like he really wants to dig through them all before he moves forward with something. And I think I think our improv bones sometimes are very enamored with the first idea. And those guys are like, no, well, let's not take the easy way out. And it certainly shows in their work. And then just a couple things. This is me just like talking behind his back. We were trying to schedule a Lonely Island podcast today, and when we found out he was doing this instead, he said, "Blame Seth." This is what he said on the text chain about doing Good Hang. Blame Seth. She's his friend. So somehow it's my fault that he's doing your podcast because you and I are friends, not because he's friends with you.
There is nothing I love more in your podcast than hearing the scheduling and how it never works.
It's awful. It's awful.
It gives me such agita to, I love a good schedule. I love a good system. And when I hear the way people don't know that they're recording, it makes me, they're like, and everyone's showing up and they're like, it's today. I just am like, what? Yeah. I love it. I want to know everything about it. Also, those three,
the amount like a cup of coffee can completely change their personalities. They would not have lasted. Lonely Island would not have lasted long in pioneer times. They're like, Also, just for fun, he hates my dog, Samberg.
Yeah, that's a running. I was going to say joke, but it feels real.
No, he really hates my dog. So you don't have to do this, but I invite you to say, I asked Seth for a question, but he couldn't talk today because his dog just died, and just see if he has any reaction. But you have to play it. You have to play it real. He has been stressing to me a lot recently. He likes dogs. It's just my dog.
When did that start, by the way? Why does he hate Frisbee?
He met Frisbee when Frisbee was we'd had Frisbee for 2 weeks, and he just immediately said that dog looks like a rat, and he has not come off it once. In fact, I think we put Frisbee in his lap, and he like went, and she just fell on the floor. I love him so much, Poehler.
I know.
I'm really talking to him. He is I'm Malvo. Again, we talked, you can hear all about it on my episode of Good Hang, but I love being friends with people, but he's a different kind of friend. He just really feels like a brother, and I'm just so lucky. Oh, here we go. Old Waterworks Jones.
Here he goes.
Oh, but look at this. Look what we have in my podcast studio. We're not making people wipe their...
I have it too, but I have my logo on it. Just in case.
Oh, see, that's you put your logo on.
We call these Seth's tissues now. All right, love you, Seth. Thank you so much for doing
love
this.
Love you. Give him my love too.
I will. Okay,
bye,
see
hangers.
you soon. Bye, bud. This episode is brought to you by Volkswagen. Ever look at something and think, wow, must be nice? Yeah, same. But here's the thing. The 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan makes all that really nice stuff totally within reach. It's got that elevated look, a seriously luxe interior with features like massaging front seats and real wood accents. Because let's be honest, nice things shouldn't just be for people named Chadwick. Visit VW.com to learn more about the 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan. Hi, Bud.
Hi, Bud.
Thank you for doing this.
Please.
Come on.
As soon as they said you were doing one, I was like, well, I'll be on that.
I was thinking about today, like getting ready for today, and it was a really good feeling. First of all, because I love doing the show, but I was just like, the fact that I get to just hang out with you and talk to you, and you are the kind of person that just when I think about what I would talk about with you, it just feels very nice and very relaxed.
I could not be more with you.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yes. I know it's not going to be There's no gotchas.
Not a lot of push.
Well, maybe one gotcha. We're gonna get
Hit me with one gotcha today.
Okay, I'll get one gotcha.
Think
Hold
whatever
on.
gotcha you ask, I have to answer. Is that the rule?
Okay, yeah, one gotcha.
Okay.
One gotcha per ep.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm on the hook for a gotcha.
Andy Samberg.
Oh no!
What can you see?
I have a tiny stain.
Oh my God, a stain.
I jokingly, half jokingly said, if you can see a stain, you have to run in here like Dustin Hoffman at the end of The Graduate.
Got listeners, for people listening, there was a little bit of a stain. Okay, so Andy's taking his shirt off. This is his thing he does where he goes, oh, there's a stain. And then he takes his
And
shirt
then
off.
oh, have I been hitting the gym? All right, I forgot.
Thank you, ladies. There's two women who came in here
Thanks,
who
guys.
were on Andy's stain.
Those are my sisters.
Oh my God, it's so funny wait, that you're talking about your sisters because that's what I wanted to start with.
Oh, perfect. Are we started? Are we commenced?
Yeah, we've commenced.
Wonderful.
Because I don't think a lot of people know that you are the younger brother of two older sisters.
Yes.
And in many ways, you give off little brother vibes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You like that.
I do like it.
Okay, what do you like about that? That description of you.
It just is me, so it makes sense to me when I feel seen when people are like, you have little brother vibes. I'm like, you're correct.
What was it? What are your sisters like, and what kind of like dynamic is in your family?
Eldest sister, very extroverted. Middle sister, introverted. I had a great relationship with both of them. I loved growing up with them. Very goofy, silly sibling vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And now we all have kids and are adults, and it's insane.
And what are the pros of being a little brother to two sisters, to two young women?
Oh man, you don't get beat up,
Yeah, right.
which
You don't
is
get
great.
Beat up.
Like so many of my dude friends are like, oh man, my brother used to beat my ass, and in like not in a like properly abusive way, but
Yeah.
where they'll be like, I was always a little scared he's gonna like sock me or something, and I'm just like, yeah, I never had to deal with that at all. And also, I mean, I've talked about this before, but like in my life, I have found when I meet other guys that have older sisters, we immediately get along. There's just a different level of ease for me with that energy. I don't know how to explain it.
Who do you know that has older sisters?
Matt Murray, Panther.
Matt Murray, Panther, a great SNL writer who we love.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. Has the vibe of someone who's been taken gentle care of.
Yes.
And likes women.
Yeah, truly. I mean, obviously, you would hope for everyone to be able to be okay in any situation. Like, I grew up with a lot of girls who were just my friends in a very easy way. And it didn't have to be like, are we going to hook up? Like, and I feel like a lot of my guy friends back then, it was, if they didn't have sisters for some reason, those guys, it was more of a thing.
Yeah. Were you friends with your sister's friends?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was in love with
You
all
were
of
in
them.
love with them?
Yeah.
That I didn't want to say it, but that's what I
I
imagined.
was. I mean, also friends.
Yeah.
But when you're younger and they're like in the house and they're all like so pretty.
And they're like laughing and throwing their arm around you like, Andy.
Yes. You're so silly. And I'm just like, I'll marry you right now.
And you're 11 and you wanted to just marry them?
Yeah. And they're all being nice. And they're like, well, that's Darrow's brother, so we have to be nice.
So people who don't know you or where you're from, where did you grow up? Tell us about your fam.
Grew up in Berkeley, California.
Oh yeah.
Bay all day. My parents are both from New York. They moved out to the Northern California in summer of 70. They missed Summer of Love by a year. Maybe on purpose.
Well, I do think it's interesting because you and the Lonely Island bandmates, Yorma Taccone and Akiva Scheffer, both have like East Coast hippie parents
Yes.
that came out here.
Yes.
All of you
And
did,
we
right?
found each other. It is strange. We're all Northern California raised by New York parents. or
Why
East
did your
Coast
parents move out here? Why do you think?
I think it was just happening out here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of the summer of love runoff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was just there was a huge migration of quote unquote, let's say hippies.
I know that's probably the wrong word to use, right?
At this
would you?
point-
What word would you use?
I mean, my dad had long hair and was like, I'm getting out of here, like me and Margie were heading west. You know, it definitely was that kind of energy. But it was also like, we got nothing going on. We heard there's people, you know, having some like comfortable places to sleep out on the West Coast. So I think it just brought them out here. And then once you get here, it's hard to go back because it's so laid back and mellow.
And you know, we don't have to revisit it if you don't want to, but I loved your episode of Who Do You Think You Are? So You Think You Can Dance.
Oh,
where are you from?
The
How
PBS one?
Yes.
Finding Your Roots.
Yes. That's the serious one. Sorry. But,
I mean, I don't know the difference, but that's what I asked.
It was so good. And
Thanks.
for people
crazy.
that didn't see it, you were looking kind of hoping to help your mom find her birth father.
Both parents.
Both parents.
My mom was adopted. By the way, after I did that show, this is just an aside, I watched it with Yorm and Mari in New York because I was doing press in New York or something.
Yeah.
And when it aired, it showed my mom's like adoption agency that she was adopted from. And it's the place from Three Identical Strangers. So like, and we were like, that's why we could never find the records and find anything about it because they like disappeared it.
No way.
Yes. So that's where my mom was adopted from.
Not a great rep.
No.
Whoa.
So basically, yeah, sorry. The backstory on it is I have sort of avoided doing stuff like that.
Sure.
But then they asked, and it is a super great, reputable show. And I asked my mom, I was like, there's a chance if I do this, they could figure out who your birth parents are. Do you want me to do it? Knowing like I might be on TV finding out some horrible thing about our family history and what her origin was and all that. And she was just like, it would be worth it to me. I still want to know. So I did it and they just smashed it. Like we showed it. She came with me the day that we shot it. And when we walked in, they were all like, there she is. Like they were all like starstruck by her because they knew what they were about to drop on her was going to change her life. And it was this amazing team of people. And what came out of it was they found out who both her parents were. And now we're in touch with both sides of her family.
No way.
She has like 4 half siblings on her father's side. And then like a couple first cousins still with us and their families on her mother's side. And the craziest thing about it by far, that's like from a movie that I get chills still talking about, is once she connected with both sides of the families, they both, unbeknownst to each other, went looking through her biological parents' old stuff they still had. And they both found the same photograph of the two of them together.
But they both
had the picture of them together when they had their like brief time together.
Oh no, that makes me want to cry.
Isn't that crazy?
So they had a brief. So your mom's parents had like a brief relationship.
Yes.
And then a baby that they gave up for adoption.
Yes, and we don't know if her father even knew.
Right. And they went on to marry other people and have other kids. But
Yes.
they kept the same picture of
Yes, from like a date in San Francisco. Also another crazy thing, which was that they had met in the Bay Area, and then my mom moved there.
Yes, there was something that wanted her to come back. Whoa.
There were so many weird, trippy things about it.
I love that kind of stuff. That just feels so like life has some kind of grand design. Yeah.
It was really beautiful. And she was so happy. And now we have like, oh yeah, we all look like our grandparents.
Well, I remember that your grandfather, the big reveal was that you're Italian.
Yes, exactly. And did I tell you the story that I went back to Brooklyn? I was shooting Brooklyn Nine-Nine at the time, and all the crew and everyone knew I was doing it. And I came back in on Monday because we did it over the weekend. And all the camera guys and the crew guys were like, so? And I was like, I'm a quarter Sicilian. And they all went, hey! Like every part of it was like from a movie. It was so awesome and wonderful.
Oh my God.
They're like, welcome, paisan.
Do you feel different knowing that?
I do feel a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we always were like, there's something that's not just like, you know? But yeah, it was crazy. And for my mom especially, it was just like, you know, she was at this time probably 75, 76 years old. She had given up.
Wow.
She was like, I'm going to go my whole life not ever knowing.
Oh, Andy, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's an amazing story. And
cool.
that idea, the idea that they both kept the photos is very deep
Yes.
because it feels like it's like a time travel moment
Mm-hmm.
where their future selves planted that photo. You know, like that's a real time travel shit.
I've thought about it a lot because it's so special and it does like feel written.
Yeah.
And the only thing I have a few theories. One is like they thought maybe someday this exact thing would happen and they wanted her to find them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If he did know about her.
Yeah.
And if not, it's just that maybe they both really enjoyed their time together and it was like, you know, you don't like wipe your old relationships from social media. You keep them because they were special to you at that time. Or whatever.
Yeah. You mentioned Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Jake, and now I'm realizing Jake Peralta is like an Italian name.
He's half Jewish, half Italian. It was like a prophecy. Mike and Dan foresaw it.
So for those who don't know, Mike Schur, who was also a guest on Good Hang, along with Dan Gore, created the show. And I think it might be interesting for people to know like our conversation that we had before the show. You've spoken about it before, but you know, you left SNL when? What year did you leave?
I want to say like 2012.
Yeah. So, you know, I was about 4 years ahead of you in the trajectory of being on the show and leaving it. And you were approached by them to do this show, and we had a conversation about it. And you were really, what do you remember from that time? Well,
the starting point of it for me was when I did a guest week on Parks, which was one of the most delightful weeks of my life. And I remember very vividly having a conversation with you that week where I was like, everyone's so nice. Everyone's so funny. The writing's good. And I remember your quote exactly was, "It's a good life, Samberg." And I held on to that like very tightly. And then when they asked me about it, I called you again to be like, I should, right? Like, because going into it, I hadn't been thinking I wanted to do a TV show, having just done 7 years of a TV show.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure crossed your mind when it came up too.
Yeah.
But then, truthfully, having seen Parks and love it so much and see it work so much and then had the experience of working on it and feeling that warmth and that happiness of working on it, it really informed my choice. And, you know, Mike, as we know, has his rule that he tells everyone before he works with them, which is like, the only rule is no assholes.
Yeah.
Everyone you work with will be thoughtful and kind and engaged, and life is too short, basically. And I was like, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Do you remember me calling you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I remember.
I want to know your side.
Well, I remember because you know, it feels like, you know, there's this moment when you leave SNL or any job and you just kind of think, well, I guess I'm jumping off a cliff. Like I'll never, you know, I guess I'm done.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people at the station that have also left and they kind of go like, hey,
yes,
welcome. There's a lot more out there. And that's what I felt like that conversation was with me and you, which is, yes, there's so many opportunities. And if it's a Mike Schur, Dan Gore opportunity, I would take it because it is going to be one of the best experiences of your life.
Yes.
Did it prove to be?
Absolutely. And by the way, it's a gift that keeps giving. Like it just moved to Netflix in the US and it's been there internationally. I took a trip, like a family trip to Europe a couple of years ago. And it was like, because of the Netflix part of it, I was like, everywhere I went, I was like, Jake Peralta. I was just telling Fred this too. I was like, I felt like I was on Friends. I was like, oh my God, the show is actually really big and people really watch it. And kids love it and families watch it together, which was such a part of my experience growing up, was like watching good quality sitcoms together as a family. And just being able to think that I did something that is that for people is really gratifying. And it was amazing. Like I'm still really close with everyone I worked with there and loved it so much. And everything you told me would happen, happened.
I mean, it's such a good show, and exactly that. You feel like there was a sense of family. Can you tell me, like, what was, like, when you think about the, like, deeply funny moments with Andre Braugher, who I love, and I'm so sorry for his passing and his loss. When you think about what you and Andre, how you guys laughed together, what was that dynamic like behind the scenes?
God.
'Cause he's so good in the show. He's so poised.
Yes.
He's such a good actor.
Yes.
But he was, and also to me, I never had the pleasure of meeting him. He seemed like he was just playful and fun.
He was. And just a good person. Like so deeply moral and kind and pleasant and smart. And just like, we all absolutely loved him. I miss him a lot.
Yeah.
Our dynamic worked immediately. It was like, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, this is kismet. I don't know how to explain it. Because Mike and Gore cast him from like a meeting. They just like did a Zoom or something with him. And they were like, yeah, it's, I mean,
you know what, dude? This is probably pre-Zoom.
Yeah, it was probably a Skype.
It was a Skype.
Bro, it was a disgusting ass Skype.
Disgusting Skype. We used to have to do this thing called Skype.
With a Y in it. But yeah, I mean, I think Mike's talked about this a lot too. Like, we showed up for the first table read before we'd even shot the pilot. He walked in and we had like a very pleasant hello. And then we started reading it. And as soon as we started reading it, like the first scene, which is, he comes out and I'm goofing with him and being a dummy and he's being stoic. And it just, you know how it is sometimes creative stuff where you're like, I don't care how this came to be. It's working and I'm so happy.
So grateful.
And then from that moment forward, like the only thing me and him had to like even talk about creatively was in the beginning, he didn't trust himself to do comedy.
Yeah, interesting.
Because he came so strictly from drama and Juilliard and, like 5 or 6 times we would do like a more serious topic on the show and he would flip that switch and everyone would be like, oh my God, like what is Andre doing here? He's so good. Like he should be in like drama. He's like the best. But then he would do his Captain Holt stuff and it was the funniest thing in the show.
It's so interesting you bring up like Juilliard, and for people that like, it's kind of a shorthand for like a different way of training.
Yes.
And, I don't know. I think there's something very cool, even if you're not an actor or performer, in general, when you start working more and more, you're like, oh, everybody has a different way of working.
We all got here a different road.
I know.
Yeah.
And we come from a very similar, I think, sketch background where we're like burning through ideas. And I know as a performer, you and I like to keep it I like to keep it pretty loose. Until it feels ready. And that really can unnerve other people.
Yes.
And it took me a long time to realize that wasn't someone else's process.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, we would do like a fun run or whatever. We took that from you guys too. We took a lot from Parks. Let's be real.
Well, we took it from The Office. So a fun run was kind of like a...
Once you have it scripted, then it's like, okay, have fun with it. Try different things.
Yeah.
And we would do that occasionally. We would do it more when we had a guest who was really known for improv. Like we'd let Mantzoukas cook, for example. The difference between you and I, you're a much more seasoned performer, in my opinion. I always felt that way. I feel like I have gotten so much better and have such a better understanding of acting having done Brooklyn. But for me, that was like acting school. I even remember another conversation I had with you when Brooklyn started texting you and being like, is it hard for you to memorize all this? And you went, now it is. And I was like, gosh, you're so cocky about it. And then like 2 or 3 years in, if someone had asked me, I'd be like, yeah, I can do it in my sleep.
You got it. I know it was a muscle.
Yes.
And then when you stop, it atrophies.
It does.
Because that's why I'm doing this podcast. I literally can't memorize anything anymore. I mean, it's so hard to memorize now.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds so stupid, but I always say to people, think about, this isn't like acting is hard, but it is. But think about when you give a speech and you're in front of people and you have to memorize that speech. Now imagine 40 to 50 people standing, watching you do it, like drinking coffee, being like, oh, get this speech right. Please get this speech right. Like you're not at a wedding and it's not fun. It's like a job and everyone's like, please get it right. Like I'm tired and it's almost lunch.
Also like long day or a long week. And you're talking about at least 10 to 12 people that are like actively holding something heavy.
That's right. They're holding something heavy.
And like you see people's like legs start shaking and you're like, I got to get this line.
That would be like if you gave a wedding toast that you had to memorize and all of your family were holding giant rocks. You didn't get it right. Oh
man, Uncle Gary just had a knee surgery. I got to get this thing done.
And when you don't get it right, they all put the rocks down and they're like,
I guess we'll try it again.
Fucking guy can't get it right. No, but but we would burn through, just like you, like a lot of pages a day, and you had to kind of just like figure it out. But I would say, having worked with you at SNL, and also we had a really fun time when you and Maya were working on our fun dumb show, making it.
I loved
and
it.
baking it. Like, but I will say, Andy, I think people don't know this about you, is you're pretty meticulous when you work.
Yeah.
It's different than I think people would assume.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
I mean, well, that was actually where I was starting to very slowly walk towards about Brooklyn, which was, for me, I would prefer having like, and it was good for Andre too, like 3 to 5 alts that are very specific.
Yeah.
And not that we're just like, what are we going to come up with? But where I'm like, I work with the writer on set. We had the braddest staff. They were so funny. And it would be like, anytime you get to a scene where we all feel like, you know, that thing where you just feel, you're like, this joke's just halfway there.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, quickly scramble. And then we would write out a bunch of alts, say it to each other, know that it's it. And so like make it official one at a time, as opposed to like, it's the sauce, you know, we're all in like the soup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other thing about me that I would agree with you is very meticulous is editing.
You're very meticulous about editing, and you get very serious when it comes to music.
I do.
Like, you know, I remember us recording what I thought was kind of a goofball song.
God.
And I remember being like, oops, like Andy's gotten quiet and serious. And it was like, right, of course, because you're a professional. And it is.
I mean, halfway. I don't know what I am.
Well,
I just love it.
Yeah, you love it.
Yeah.
And you want it to be good.
I do want it to be good. I want it to sound good.
And I will say that you and Yorma and Akiva, the members of Lonely Island, like, you guys came in a way to that show that was super interesting, because you were your own island, literally, you came in together with your own system that then had to kind of fit into the bigger SNL system.
Yes.
And those early days, like you talk about it so well on your podcast, which I'm obsessed with. And
thank you for being on it also.
Oh my God, I love it. And it's hilarious. And I love how no one knows when you're recording. And a lot of times you guys don't show up.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's
a mess. Definitely check that out.
That's my favorite part. But you're going through all of the digital shorts. You're going through them one by one. And I love that. I forget, because it's like childbirth, like it all goes away, the pain part.
Yes.
I forget the grind of each one that you guys had. And so you guys were really into the grind. And
yes.
Do you remain into that grind?
Are you asking if I stay on my grind?
But you want to talk about that early grind?
Yes.
Because it's interesting. I don't think people would assume that from you.
I mean, do I have the rise and grind mentality? No.
My memory of you 3 was constantly being tired.
Yep.
Constantly wanting it to be better and better and better. Like, what is your relationship to like perfectionism, or like continuing to tweak and make things better?
I think SNL was a struggle for us in that sense, because that's not the name of the game there.
Mm-hmm.
But because we did pre-tape stuff, and it was, you know, videos we could edit, we did get closer to it than a lot of people at that time especially would have been allowed to.
Yeah.
Again, though, I would watch people like you and Fred and Bill and Wig and Maya and like so many of our peers who were like, in my opinion, on a performance level, the sell was how amazing you guys were live.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling of like, oh, anything could happen in this moment, whether or not it was true, because you guys are all precise as hell too. But like the electricity of that was the thing that I felt like I didn't always have live, but that we could make work in a pre-tape with the correct editing and the right concepts. You know what I mean?
I do. I mean, I would argue it's both and, because I think that you do have a looseness as a performer that relaxes people.
Sure.
You just have to have it. And I think that's what's interesting about you as a performer, is like, I do think there's a precision that's important to you, but you don't see it when you're performing.
Sure.
So that is hard to balance. And it's just like, because you're right. There was, I mean, I remember learning from Will Ferrell, like watching and being like, oh, in this show, if you're having fun and you're relaxed, people relax and have fun.
Yes.
It is just, and I mean, there's nothing harder than someone saying like, just relax.
Yes.
But it was true. If you could kind of zone out and kind of act like life is a dream
And you belong there.
and you belong there,
And you're just-
fake it till
yeah.
you make it,
Yep.
the audio, it would work. And the people that couldn't do that, we had a really hard time.
Definitely.
But I knew that you could do both. You could do that, and then you would go and edit for hours, and you and Keevan, you would lock yourselves
We were
in,
zombies.
and you were zombies, and you were so
Yeah.
tired.
We were so tired. We also I talk about this a lot, which was my dream was always to be on SNL, and then we got it, which was insane. Like, I would have been good doing one season and getting fired, knowing I actually got to try doing the one thing I wanted. And then first season, it went good.
Right.
You know, which was really unexpected. Like, we'd been doing fine the first half of that first season. You were there.
Yep.
We were like figuring it out. I was figuring out how to present myself live, and I had done stand up, but like, what's the angle? How do you ingratiate the audience to you? And then that one video just went bonkers, and it was like, oh shit, okay. Like, we arrived quote unquote early for how the show usually works, in my opinion. And then because of that, we were lucky, but also we immediately put insane pressure on ourselves because we were like, well, now we have to do things that do that. Like, the making the Narnia one was partly because it was a good sketch, but also just pure luck. Like, the fact that it was the moment that people were like, there's this thing called YouTube. And the moment that people wanted to be like, SNL had this pre-tape and it looked like they shot it on their own. And that's interesting to us now.
Right.
And like, whatever the hell confluence of things made it become a news story. I mean, when you are lucky enough, like us, to work long enough, you just keep making stuff that you think is good and that you want to watch. And then every now and again, it all kind of comes together for things that are out of your control. Right?
Totally. It's so much of it is timing and being in the right place.
Yes.
Like you said, and having the right people around you and being in the right era of SNL and
Yes.
all of that stuff, and having the right head writer who's supporting you, and being a certain age where you're not too old or too young to handle it, all that stuff.
Yes.
But I would say, what is that? There's like some quote, like, luck in preparation is the preparation. Hold on, let me look at my...
Is the cure for hemorrhoids.
Yeah. What is it? Like, luck is the You know what I'm talking about.
It's
time
plus...
luck.
No, preparation plus luck is success or something?
Preparation.
Is
I
it...
feel like Wayne Gretzky definitely said it. Or it's... Who said it? Luck, here we go. It was the Roman philosopher Seneca. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, dude.
That's what it is. I've always called Seneca the Gretzky light.
I added the dude. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. That is true. That's what it was.
And sorry, what is it again?
It was
Luck
is when preparation
meets
meets opportunity.
opportunity.
So you had been... Let's see if we can memorize it.
We're going to Garth and Cat
Ready?
it. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Dude. Oh, Seneca.
Oh, Seneca, you crazy bitch.
Just like, dude. Okay.
He's like, guys, gather around.
Dig on this. Dude, I got it.
It was like, what?
You don't even know. People are going to say this.
Seneca. But that is an example of that. You guys were ready. You had been working together for a really long time. And look, similarly with, I say this all the time, which is there is no better feeling than having some people in your corner at a place like SNL or anywhere.
Yes.
Where to do almost anything, whether it's be on SNL or it's like go through hard times in your life, or like if you have a few people that can stand around you, like you can get through anything. You just need one or two, or like, and the fact that you guys had each other.
It was a dream.
Yeah.
I mean, how many folks were you friends with when you got hired?
Well, I was Tina basically was like so instrumental in getting me hired, and Dratch was there. And so Tina and Dratch and I started together, and like they were, and I knew Horatio, and I knew a lot of people kind of, but Tina and Dratch and I had known each other at that point, but for 10 years and started together. And that was huge.
It makes a huge difference.
To have, and
I can't imagine coming in there
I know.
Totally alone.
Agree. And so many like warriors came through and just kind of like blazed a trail or
Or did really well doing other things elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's a very specific thing.
I do want to talk about Lazy Sunday for a second. I know you guys have talked about it a ton on your podcast, but I'll just tell you that, that was part of a bigger Christmas show that a lot of people, and listen to Andy's podcast because they break it down beautifully, that episode. It's probably my favorite episode I've ever been on because Jack Black was the host.
Yeah.
And it was 2004, and that was 2005, my bad. And it was, for me, far enough away from 9/11, which is when I started, which was like, we'll never laugh again, and not too close to me, being pregnant and leaving.
Yep.
It was just like, for me, in the sweet spot of finally feeling like I knew what I was doing.
Yes.
And I can remember that moment. I remember being on the floor watching that thing, and exactly what you said. It was as if the audience you could feel them going, this is a new fun thing. We like these.
Yeah.
Like, we want more of them. It was wild to feel that.
It was life-changing for me. I mean, it was, again, I can't stress how much we were not expecting that to be the reaction.
Yeah.
We were just trying to get things on the show.
Yeah.
We were so green, so new. I mean, we had not had an insane amount of experience before we got the show either. Like, you had a full show that I watched and loved, P.S. I had seen you doing like UCB shows and knew who you were. There's a lot of people, I think, who get SNL, especially then, that had like really, I mean, think about like when Wig got hired. Yeah. Wig's audition had like 5 fully formed Groundlings characters.
It was incredible.
That and Farrell audition too, where you're just like, oh, they're ready for SNL, period. Like, they have been bred to, they're like Lionel Messi of SNL, where like from a child, they were like, this is my path that I'm doing. I mean, Will is an anomaly. He's like, I'm going to decide to be the funniest person on earth.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, I had done stand-up on and off, and we had made videos, which at that time didn't directly translate. We didn't get hired to do them.
Right.
It was more just like, we had fun at the movie awards writing with a bunch of SNL people and Fallon and people, and they were like, come play, come hang out, and da-da-da. And we were like, okay. And then that one, we had done the one with Forte with the lettuce, and then that was Lazy Sunday was the second one. And then it was like getting shot out of a cannon. But
and do you remember where you were when you got the call that you got the show? And did Akiva and Yorma get the call at the same time, or did someone get it first?
I got it first. They flew me out, but it didn't tell me. But I flew with Bill, and he knew because Marcy Klein had told him he got it, and he knew I got it.
But he couldn't tell you?
He couldn't tell me, and he didn't tell me.
Oh.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart, because I understand. I would be afraid that I'd get fired if I told you or something.
Yeah,
but
we sat together
like,
on the plane.
He probably was like, this is great, right? And you were like, I guess.
He loves recounting it because we sat together on the plane and like had drinks. And I was like, I wonder what's going to happen. And he's like, I know what's going to happen. You fucking got it, dude.
So he did tell you.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But he could have. I'm saying he likes to talk about how he could have.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so then, we got there and I had a meeting with Lauren because you have a meeting with Lauren. And Lauren didn't tell me.
No, he never hires or fires anybody.
No. So I walked out of his office, and I think it was like Jen or maybe Shookus or people like that were there, and they were like, so? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, you got the show. Like, they were the ones who told me. And then we went to a dinner. Lauren, that's what Lauren told me. We're going to have a dinner after this, so you should come. And I was like, okay, so I guess I'm still in the mix. And then they were like, no, you got the show. And so on the drive from 30 Rock to that dinner, I called my parents, and we were all like crying and stuff.
They
amazing.
were.
Oh my God.
Andy.
I mean, since I was 8, that was what I wanted to do.
Andy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then what was the stress? Codependently, I would be immediately stressed about Akiva and Yorma.
Yes. They told them early the next week. It was like a weekend. So we didn't have to wait too long. But they had made a deal that if one of them got hired and not the other, that they wouldn't take it.
Really?
Yeah, that not 2 out of 3 of us would leave.
Oh.
But that if one of us got it, go with God.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. We spent a lot of time together, sleepless writing nights.
Yes,
You have an interesting relationship with sleep.
I do.
And I love talking to people about sleep. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Tell me your relationship to sleep.
I love sleep. Until I had children, I would go to bed very, very late. I'm like textbook night owl. And when I worked at SNL, it was my dream job schedule as well, because I would go to bed at like 4 a.m. and sleep until like 2, 3 in the afternoon. And then I started dating a musician who had the exact same schedule, and it was like perfect.
Yeah.
And so I've only ever had one job that like catered exactly to my preferred sleep schedule. And even now, like I love making movies and I love making the show and stuff like that, but you have to get up crazy early like a normal person who has a normal job.
Right.
Because most jobs start early and most people that are adults get up early.
Right.
So it's been a hard adjustment.
Yeah.
And now the kids, I mean,
Well, you mentioned your wife, the great Joanna Newsom, incredible musician. Yay! I kind of remember, I felt like I was around during the courtship.
I remember specifically one night walking you home. We were all out at a bar and talking about how I had just started dating her, and you were awesome about it.
And you were head over heels right away.
I was gone, yeah.
And you remain. Like, you guys are really, you've been together now for
17 or 18 years.
That's a long time, Andy. Relationship. You've called her your best friend, basically.
Yeah.
Say more about that.
I'm just lucky.
What's it like to be with your best friend?
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's like, obviously having kids changes things.
Yeah.
Because your responsibilities shift, your sleep schedule, but obviously a million other things. But it still feels like anytime there's a pocket of time where it's just us, it still feels like we're getting away with something, like we're having a sleepover and it's fun and there's no one I would rather be hanging out with and chatting with. And it's amazing. I feel really lucky to get to share my life with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that walk with you and talking about it and you going, I don't know, Samberg, I got a good feeling about this one. I always remember things you say, Amy.
I mean, you guys were deeply, very quickly, twinkly.
Yes.
And you both have this thing that I think is really, I respect in both of you, is you're artists, you take your art seriously, and you liked that about each other.
Definitely.
You really respected each other, really.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being a fan of someone's work and really respecting what they do. It's very different.
I think a lot of people understood that from my perspective. I think some people at first were like, she likes that stuff that he does? But the truth is she does and did.
Yeah.
And her and her siblings are goofballs together and love comedy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe my luck that was the case.
I feel like the mutual respect is the reason when you have a lot of years behind you, that's the thing that keeps couples together.
Yeah.
It's that, have you ever heard of that? He's a famous therapist. Do you watch Couples Therapy?
I don't.
Oh my God, dude.
Should we watch it right now?
Yeah, let's shut this down. Let's watch it.
I just finished Andor.
Oh. Andor.
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
it was good.
I'm sure it was.
I watched The Last of Us.
This is the exact opposite of Andor.
I watched Love on the Spectrum.
I love Love on the Spectrum.
So
I cry so hard. You and I like to cry.
We do like to cry.
We love crying. You know who else loves to cry? Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers does love
to
cry.
We got to cry here. And Seth Meyers was the person that I asked to ask you a question.
Oh.
So I earlier before you came in, I was Zooming with Seth Meyers, who, you guys have a very, oh, by the way, dude, have you heard that Frisbee died?
Don't even play, because I'll be so happy. I will never back off that. That dog sucks, dude. And I know this is a good vibes cast, so I don't even want to bring that energy.
You're right. I shouldn't have mentioned that
But
dumb
like,
dog.
that dog is like a rat carcass.
Seth wanted me to pretend that he died.
I am trying to figure out what something special I can do when Frisbee does finally pass on.
You should do like a memorial video that's about how much that dog sucked. It'd be pretty funny. But Seth, you know, like your relationship is really fraternal and really supportive. You hear it on your podcast. You've seen it in real time. Like, and his question was the one I asked you. Basically, he wanted to know about the little brother of it all, like what it was like being, you know, having sisters and being the little brother. But in many ways, I would say the dynamic between the two of you is like older brother, younger brother. You
I would
and
agree.
Seth,
Yes.
right?
But also because Seth likes to be in charge and in control.
Right.
And I do not.
You don't?
I like to be in control of what I make, but not of the situation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, I can if I need to be.
Yeah.
But the fun of it for me is not that.
Right.
The fun of it always for me. I mean, I was like the diffuser in my family, you know, and youngest and get attention through being silly and making jokes and making people laugh and finding my spot that way. And, you know, it changes as it becomes your job.
Yeah.
But I feel like also like Seth's persona is, I know what's going on and I'm going to put everyone at ease. And mine is like, you don't know what's going to happen maybe.
Totally. Like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, like it might be like not what you're expecting a little bit. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah. Have you ever taken like your Enneagram test? Do you know your number?
No.
Have you taken the Enneagram?
Wait, this is different from the thing that me and you texted about?
What were we, or maybe I've texted you to make you take it. I'm obsessed with it. It's
think
like numbers 1 to 9.
Yeah, we did text about it.
What was your number?
Am I allowed to look at my phone and look at our old texts?
What did we get? Because I made you take it? Did I make everyone, all of Lonely Island take it?
I think that I had the same one as Tina and Seth, is what you said.
Okay, that's right. You were a 3, the achiever.
Fuck, that sounds so sexy.
Right? I mean, congrats. But that's what I mean is the 3 isn't always the peacemaker. The 3 is like, but the 3 is, we really will cut all this out. Because there's truly.
Do you not talk about, yeah. This is 3.
You were a 3.
You said this is 3. Does this resonate?
And you were like, hell yeah.
And I said, you're 8 all day.
Because I'm an 8.
Yeah.
Challenger. And 3 is the achiever. So 3 is like, can be like, you like to hear good job.
I do like to hear good job. Good boy.
Good boy, good job. Yeah, your 3 is so big. You know what's, and that's what she said. You know what's small? Is your 4, which is
I wish so bad you'd been like, yo, dinky little dick. Like, hey, that was good hang.
Oh my God, I was laughing.
Sorry, it's just what I heard.
We were just in the office before you came in watching the Bash Brothers again because the Shrinky Dinky, my name is Mork, and I eat pork with a fork, but I'm not a jork, but I'll jork it.
I'll jork it out the pork.
I'll jork it out the pork.
I feel very proud of that.
God, I'd love that. I love it.
Because Noah should have had the Bash Brothers on his orc.
The Bash Brothers, so many dumb fun. I mean, you love dumb fun shit.
Oh my God, yes.
God,
Me and Keeve did that knowing it was for no one, and we just loved making it so much.
Yeah.
Like our friends that we grew up with were like, you guys made a whole visual poem rap album about the Bash Brothers? And we're like, yeah.
And you know, podcasters, we are talking about sports, which is exciting. And for people who don't know, Bash Brothers were Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco.
Yes.
Very rumored at the time to be doing a lot of
steroids.
And
oh yeah.
And but it was like such an 80s rivalry, and you guys just dressed up like them and wrote a million songs about it.
It was so fun. It was so fun. By the way, the dream of that one was, I think there was a player on the actual Oakland A's when it came out who like used it as his walk-up music.
Oh wow.
And they
Amazing.
like would play Let's Bash at the stadium at the Oakland Coliseum before they, they're gone now. You know this. You're a sports nut.
Yeah. Well, I remember when that happened. But, and I got to tell you, like, and I just texted you about it the other day, like, still crushing it. You guys still crushing, like, the anxiety short was so good on the 50th.
Thanks.
Such a funny and moving, funny and moving, which, you know, the fact that you sung about how everyone had nervous diarrhea before they did every sketch on SNL.
If these pipes could talk.
If these pipes could talk, incredible, incredible. What was it on the dolly when you were?
Oh, yeah.
Were you moving or was the camera moving on that moment?
I was moving. That was a Mike Diva shot. He's a director there now who we're buddies with. That was his idea. And when he showed me that back, I was like, ooh, that's a good shot.
So good.
Yeah.
And then Sushi Glory Hole. Imagine that. Where are you going?
Sushi Glory Hole. Imagine that. Instead of strange, you be getting a snack. High-end fish, no doubt. Hey, where you going? Hear us out.
So fucking good.
Thank you.
I mean, like, every song you guys make is a bop, is a song you want to listen to regardless of the comedy. But Andy.
That one, yeah.
So good. And I just, like, you've made so many good ones. But I just want to remind everybody, like, you've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Sushi, like, so good.
Thanks.
So stupid.
So stupid.
Perfect.
Yeah.
A little bit dirty. Fantastic outfits.
So good.
Great POV and attitude.
They came with it.
Was it any more fun? I mean, you talked about this on the podcast, but does it get any easier to make them now, or is it harder to make them now? These digital
Both.
Yeah.
The technical aspect is easier because we've done so many.
Yeah.
Coming up with something we find interesting and funny becomes more difficult because we've done so many.
Yeah.
But that was one in particular where we had written, Akiva came up with the phrase Sushi Glory Hole. I can't believe I'm treating this so seriously. But
we should treat this like actors on acting.
So when Akiva first said Sushi Glory Hole, but we.
And what did God say when he met you at the pearly gates?
At that point, we were just channeling. We giggled and I was like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And then he kept saying it and I couldn't tell if he was doing it as a bit, like we should do that, or if he actually wanted to do it.
Right.
So then after a while, I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's try it. And we did a whole other version on a different beat and we hadn't come up yet with the idea of hear us out over and over again. So then we were like, we kind of let it sit because we were like, it's okay. It just feels like AI doing a Lonely Island song or something. You know what I mean? Where it's like, we're rapping and it's this and it's about a thing that you wouldn't rap about.
Right.
And we were like, yeah, I guess so. And then a couple days later, because we just decided to go in the studio a lot at that time, he came in and played a different song he had heard on the radio. I can't remember which one it was, but it inspired him. It was like a more modern song. Something with A$AP Rocky and some people on it. And we were like, oh, let's try it to a beat like that. And we did. And then because we switched the beat, it inspired the hear us out thing. And then once we did that we started doing the laugh, which is the right laugh, which, when you're in a room writing something, we were like, uh-oh, it's the laugh. We're having that laugh where we know we are officially into this idea. Yeah. Not just like this will be professional and technically up to snuff.
Right.
Where you're like, ooh, I now like this for sure.
Yeah. You're like, oh, we got to do it now.
Yeah. And then it was like, yeah, now we got to do it. And it opened it up for us.
That's a good example of you guys, like, you want to keep going back. And I mean, Seth mentioned this when we were talking to him earlier, is like, there's like the improv Bones version where like sometimes we romanticize the first idea. And you guys don't do that. You're like, this isn't ready yet. This isn't right yet. Like you like
yes, but if it's if it's really funny the first time, we don't fuck with it.
Yeah. What was the fastest song you ever wrote? Fastest digital short you like came up with and did like from the minute you thought of it till you did it, it was super fast. It just came out.
A lot of them were like that when we were working at the show.
Yeah. Because
the schedule is crazy.
Yeah.
So like Lazy Sunday, once we had the idea, it wrote in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Natalie's rap, same thing.
Yeah.
Shirani, we wrote in like under an hour. It takes a long time to come up with the idea. And then sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're in the shower at home and you have a full idea and you come in and you go, I have an idea. And then you just write it and it happens.
Sometimes you have your dick in the box in the shower and then you come in and you're like, let's do it on the show.
Dick in the Box was Yorm's idea. And it took us a long time to decide what to write about because that was an assignment. It was like, Justin wants to do a song. Think of an idea to do a song with him. So we had met with him and we knew that we all had grown up listening to hip hop and R&B in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And so we were like, maybe something in that area. And then it was like, okay, but what's the premise? And then we struggled for a couple hours trying to think of something. And then when Yorm said that, we were like, oh, okay, go.
There's so many digital shorts that I watch that I'm sad I'm not in. And here's my gotcha question.
Yeah. Oh, here it comes.
Gonna put my gotcha glasses on. Why aren't I in this? I feel like I didn't get asked to be in enough digital shorts.
I agree.
What did I do?
I don't know. Is it?
My brain has a theory,
What
and
is
maybe
it?
it's just protecting me.
You were already doing update.
That's my theory. Is you guys shot a lot of stuff on Fridays, and we would have to read update jokes on Friday. And I feel there were times where it was very like, we need someone quick to do this thing, and I was not available. But there's so many shorts where I'm like, damn, I wish I could be in that.
I also wish that. You don't understand.
Thank you.
I also think, Amy, like it's a good lesson learned for me. And for anyone in any field. I think we often were like, we don't want to bother her.
I can't believe it.
But it's true. I mean, you were in like 10 sketches every week and update.
I'm such a fan of those shorts so much. And I definitely watch them sometimes and I'm like, man, I wish I was in them. So I guess what I was hoping is like maybe we could do some kind of like Zemeckis style.
Oh, put you back in them.
Put me back.
Oh, we're going to gump it. Full gump.
We'll just do some de-aging.
Oh my God.
And we'll go back.
Wait, so can I gotcha question back?
Yeah, gotcha question
back.
These
are not gotcha questions.
I know, and mine is not a gotcha question. Gotcha back.
Can you think, which ones are the most that
I can name 5 I wish I was in so bad.
Oh my God.
Dick in the Box for sure.
Right, of course.
Of course. Dear Sister. I was like, I fucking love that one.
But dude, that shoot sucked.
It did suck. It was all night.
We were at the Flat Hotel till like 6 a.m.
I know. I remember.
That's another reason where we're like, we're not going to ask Amy to come do that. She's like,
I wish I knew.
Also, for every one of those, there was like 5 that we did at Flat Hotel till 4 a.m. that were so bad.
And I love you guys talking about them. I love you guys talking about them.
And you got to be honest. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it does not.
I mean, that's what's so funny about the stuff that we do is like nobody remembers the 10-to-1 versions of things that were just stinkers.
Always. Crazy stuff. Stuff where I was mad that it would get cut, and then I would go back and be like, oh my God, there's nothing here. Like I was just running on fumes. Like why was I so mad? It was just because like it was literally as much as like I exist too. Like I want to be on the show too.
Emily Spivey and I wrote a scene one night that we thought was so funny, and it was just about these 2 giant trucks, like truck drivers who would come up next to each other and keep telling the other one to honk it.
Yes.
And it was like, honk it, and just telling the other one to honk it. And we were like, we were dying. And we turned it in like, 8:45 a.m. And Shoemaker was like, we're not doing honk it. And we were like, what? And we already made T-shirts. He was like, we can't produce honk it. We can't get 2 giant, we can't get 2 cabs. And also, like, you guys, we're like 35 sketches over, and like you turn this in at 8:45, and it's like, and we were like, justice for honk it. Like we were so mad.
So just to be clear, you're not gonna let us read honk it? Okay. Noted.
Looking forward to having an employer that supports honk it.
Fucking noted.
Looking forward in the future to working with someone who understands honk it and what it means to us.
Oh my God.
Speaking of what we watch and listen to,
yes.
I asked my guests now, what are you watching, listening to, doing that's making you laugh?
Making me laugh.
Mm-hmm. So making you feel good, making you check out. What are you like? How do you,
Oh, well, this is loaded, but I saw the new Naked Gun.
Okay. talk about it because it looks so good.
It's really funny.
Okay, so directed
Obviously,
by Akiva.
it's directed by Akiva and co-written by Akiva, and he's my bestie. But I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. It's really fucking funny. It's just the people I've talked to that have come and watched screenings so far have kind of a similar reaction, which is it's just all jokes.
Yeah.
It's been so long since something new got made
Yeah.
that was just purely trying to make me laugh. And it's in that style, but it's also updated, and Liam's amazing, and Pam's amazing, and Keeve did a great job. The writers with him did a great job. Dan and Doug. I mean, it's just joyful. It feels really fun.
How important was like Naked Gun and Airplane to you growing up?
Big.
Same.
All the surrealistic, dumb, cartoony live action stuff I loved. Monty Python, those, Pee-wee, later Strangers with Candy, like things like that where you bend the world and make it be whatever you want it to be. You know, we all watched like Hollywood Shuffle and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker and all those movies. Anything like that where it was like you could actually have like a giant thing fall through frame and no one will acknowledge it or something.
I know. I remember like the character on Naked Gun that was really tall, that was always out of frame.
Yes.
And you never saw it at the top of
Oh
him.
my God, it's my favorite joke. Are you going to say the same joke?
Is it the banana?
Yes. It's my favorite
Oh
joke
my God, let's watch it.
ever.
And there'll be plenty of time to do it, too.
Got something on the side of your mouth, Al. No, the other side.
It's like half a banana.
Banana is hanging. Can you imagine half?
And no one reacts.
And then talking about new projects, Digman is coming back.
Yes.
That is, you created that, right? With Neil.
With Neil Campbell.
Tell, like,
During
Let's talk about it.
during the pandemic, it was like, you know, we were all bound to the home, and I was like, I've had this idea for a really long time, and I'd been talking to him about it. He's a writer on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a bunch of other stuff. And we had been kind of wanting to make it forever. It's basically like shitty Indiana Jones, the animated show.
right.
And the show is so fun.
It's so, and what a cast. Mitra.
Yeah,
Tim.
Mitra's the best.
So
Meadows, Timmy Robinson.
Yes,
it's a
Tim
really
Robinson.
good group. And it's just like, if you like jokes and goof ass comedy, it really scratches the itch.
You do a lot of animated stuff. You like it?
I love it. I love it. Growing up, I loved it.
Yeah.
Like the first time I got asked to do like a voice in an animated movie, I was just like, yes. Where do I go?
Do your kids ever watch your stuff and do they hear your voice?
My daughter watched a couple of the Hotel Transylvanias
Yeah.
and liked them.
Yeah.
Um,
Did she recognize your voice in them?
Kinda.
Yeah. It's cool.
My kids are not to a place yet where they like that I'm in the thing.
No, my children don't like to
Do they
watch.
ever get to that point?
Not really.
What
I
about
mean,
it?
can you imagine? Think of your mom and then think of watching
But
your mom
everyone
do
likes Inside Out.
Inside Out. But
By the way, congrats on all your success.
congrats on all your success.
Congrats on all your success.
Congrats on all your
Congrats on
success.
Inside Out. Inside Out 2.
Congrats on your success.
I heard it crested a Billy.
Oh, really?
You got points?
But have we been in an animated movie together?
I don't think so.
We might have been.
For how much?
We do a lot of animated movies, you and I.
For how? I'm
and
just saying, Amy. Generally speaking, for how much I mean, I'm speaking on your behalf. How much we love each other and our friends. I don't think we have actually done that much together.
You know, you're so right. That's fucked up.
Do you
I
think
mean,
maybe-
I put in my contract that, you know.
Yeah, understood.
Wait, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I got fired from that.
What?
Oh, yeah. I was the original gal in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
What the whole fuck?
And I was fired because I did not do a good job. And they had the audacity to replace me.
I hardly believe that.
No, we have not been in an animated movie together. That's so funny. We have not done enough stuff together.
I'm even trying to think of like at the show. To me, if you asked me to pick like the things that stood out the most to me of me and you being together on stage at SNL, the two that immediately come to my mind are the Palin rap
Yes.
and I'm No Angel.
Wow. Two peak pregnancy performances.
But both all-timers.
I mean, I remember asking for your help when we were writing that Palin rap, and you gave me some nuggets, including the having her hubby come out there.
Oh, was that my idea?
I think you gave me that idea of him coming out.
That makes me feel better. I was saying, we were talking about it on ours, and I was saying I felt bad because I gave you some line that was like kind of like tricky rhyme scheme, but wasn't a laugh. And then I was like, why did I do that?
Well, I mean,
so like so much something between us
like
need a go between. It was that line.
I feel like because Sudeikis came out as
Todd.
Yeah. Andy, I love you so much.
I love you, buddy.
Thank you so much for doing this.
It was an absolute pleasure.
It was such a pleasure. Like I said at the very beginning of this, the fact that I was getting to talk to you today was just like so calming. I wasn't the least bit stressed. I never am when I'm with you.
That's so nice. Same.
I love spending time with you.
You too, buddy. And I will say, not to keep hitting it over and over, it's still not an old thing for me to hear you say nice things about my comedy.
I really enjoy your comedy.
It makes me feel good and happy because you are one of the people I have aspired to and looked up to, and I love you so much, and I love your comedy so much.
Andy, thanks, buddy.
You're the best. May I?
Oh, I wanted to just show you this pen before we wrapped. I found this on the desk today.
Yeah.
And it is one of those crinkle pens. Have you seen it?
Oh, boy.
Do you know what it is?
Is it going to collapse when I flip the switch?
No. Just give her a little twist on the top.
Are we edging on ASMR right here?
Yeah, that's exactly what we've been doing.
Does that sound nice? Is this nice? Is that what ASMR people ask?
Yeah, I think. Isn't it so funny that it's so pervy. ASMR is so pervy.
Yeah. How dirty do we get on this podcast?
Very, very, very pervy.
No matter what you do, don't masturbate to this sound.
You better not.
Don't you dare masturbate.
You dirty.
Even though it probably feels so good. I hope you're wearing Bose noise-canceling headphones. But be careful, because someone could walk in and you won't hear them.
If you start doing that, I'm going to use my hairbrush. I'm going to brush your hair really hard.
I hope I don't accidentally click my long nails on the window pane.
On the window pane.
All right.
All right.
We did it.
We did it. Thanks, bud.
Cool pen.
Thank you, Andy. That was really, really fun. That was such a good hang. And I felt like we went all over the place in a good way. And I'm so happy you did it. So thank you. Andy brought up a lot of digital shorts. And I guess for this Poehler plunge, I just wanted to remind you to check out Shy Ronnie again. One of my favorites. It's just, if you haven't watched it lately, the digital short Shy Ronnie with Rihanna, and that is how she pronounces her name. It's so funny. I just feel like the character and the look, it's just wig work at its best. It's just a beautiful ginger wig and a really funny idea. And it's a really good song, like all of the songs that Lonely Island makes. So that would be what I'm going to be watching this week to laugh. And in the meantime, keep laughing. I don't know. I really don't know how to end these. They just get harder and harder. That's what she said. Okay, bye. You've been listening to Good Hang. The executive producers for this show are Bill Simmons, Jenna Weiss-Berman, and me, Amy Poehler. The show is produced by The Ringer and Paper Kite. For The Ringer, production by Jack Wilson, Kat Spillane, Kaya McMullen, and Aleya Zenieris. For Paper Kite, production by Sam Green, Joel Lovell, and Jenna Weiss-Berman. Original music by Amy Miles.